Every single day you wake up, you are already telling yourself something about who you are, what you deserve, and how far you can go. The question is not whether you speak to yourself, but what you are saying when no one else is listening. Your inner voice is shaping your habits, your confidence, and your future long before the world responds to you. If you don't control that voice, it will be controlled by fear, doubt, and past failures. Life doesn't change because of luck, talent, or excuses. It changes when your mindset changes. The most powerful conversations you will ever have are the ones you have with yourself in the quiet moments when motivation is gone and discipline must take over. What you tell yourself in those moments determines whether you rise or retreat, whether you grow or stay stuck. Today is about rewriting that inner dialogue. It's about choosing words that build strength instead of weakness, courage instead of comfort, purpose instead of panic. These are not just thoughts, these are commands to your mind and spirit, because when you change what you tell yourself every day, you don't just change your mindset, you change your life. I am responsible for my life. The moment you accept full responsibility for your life is the moment your power returns to you. Responsibility is not a burden, it is freedom. When you tell yourself every day, I am responsible for my life, you stop waiting for permission, luck, or perfect timing. You understand that where you are today is a result of past choices, habits, and decisions. This realization is not meant to shame you, it is meant to awaken you. Because if your choices created your current situation, then your future can be reshaped by better choices starting now. Too many people spend their lives handing over control to circumstances. They blame the economy, their background, their parents, their failures, or the people who wronged them. But blame keeps you stuck while responsibility moves you forward. When you take ownership, excuses lose their power. You stop saying, this happened to me, and start saying, this is what I will do next. Responsibility shifts your mindset from victimhood to leadership, from complaint to action. Telling yourself every day that you are responsible forces you to grow up mentally. It means accepting that no one owes you success, comfort, or validation. It means understanding that effort is your duty, discipline is your responsibility, and improvement is your job. This daily reminder builds inner strength because it teaches you to rely on yourself first. And when you rely on yourself, you stop breaking promises to yourself. Responsibility also sharpens your focus. Instead of wasting energy on things you cannot control, you invest your energy in what you can, your attitude, your work ethic, your preparation, and your response. You learn that even when life is unfair, your response determines your direction. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you react, and that reaction shapes your destiny. When you tell yourself this truth daily, you begin to see challenges differently. Problems stop being excuses and start becoming assignments. Every obstacle becomes a test of character, patience, and resilience. Responsibility trains you to ask better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What action must I take now? These questions move you forward while excuses keep you standing still. Taking responsibility also builds respect for yourself and from others. People trust those who own their mistakes, who don't point fingers, who don't run from accountability. When you accept responsibility, you become dependable. And dependability is the foundation of leadership, success, and self-respect. You stop needing approval because you know you are doing the work that must be done. This daily reminder also strengthens your discipline. Motivation comes and goes, but responsibility stays. You may not feel like showing up, but responsibility tells you to show up anyway. You may not feel confident, but responsibility tells you to prepare. Over time, these small responsible actions compound into massive results. Discipline becomes your habit, and progress becomes inevitable. Responsibility does not mean you will never fail. It means when you fail, you don't quit. You own the failure, learn from it, and move forward wiser. Failure stops being a dead end and becomes a lesson. When you are responsible, setbacks don't destroy you, they develop you. You stop asking for sympathy and start building solutions. Telling yourself, I am responsible for my life, every day also protects you from entitlement. You stop expecting rewards without effort. You stop believing success should be fast or easy. You understand that growth takes time, patience, and sacrifice. This mindset keeps you grounded and hungry at the same time, grateful for where you are, but driven for where you're going. Responsibility also teaches you to manage your time wisely. You stop wasting hours on distractions and start investing time in growth. You become intentional about your mornings, your habits, and your routines. You understand that time is not something you spend, it's something you invest. And responsible people invest their time in activities that move them closer to their purpose. When you live with responsibility, confidence follows naturally. Not loud confidence, not arrogance, but quiet, unshakable confidence. You trust yourself because you know you show up. You know you don't quit when it gets hard. You know you handle your business. This confidence doesn't come from words, it comes from action repeated daily. Responsibility also frees you from comparison. When you take ownership of your life, you stop measuring your progress against others. You focus on your lane, your growth, your mission. You understand that everyone's journey is different, and your only real competition is the person you were yesterday. This focus keeps you consistent and mentally strong. Most importantly, responsibility gives meaning to your life. When you take ownership, your work matters, your effort matters, your choices matter. You stop drifting and start directing your life with intention. You become the author of your story instead of a character reacting to events. And that shift changes everything. So every morning, before the world speaks to you, speak this truth to yourself: I am responsible for my life. Not tomorrow, not next year. Today. Because the moment you accept responsibility, you activate your power. And once your power is activated, nothing can stop you except your own decision to quit. I will do what is hard today so tomorrow is easier. Every day you stand at a quiet crossroads. One path is comfort, excuses, and delay. The other is discipline, effort, and sacrifice. Most people choose the easy path because it feels good in the moment. But the easy path always comes with a hidden cost, and that cost shows up later as regret, stress, and missed potential. When you tell yourself every day, I will do what is hard today so tomorrow is easier, you choose the path of strength. You choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. Hard work is not popular, but it is powerful. It demands focus when distractions are loud. It demands effort when your body is tired and your mind is full of doubt. This daily reminder trains you to understand a simple truth: pain is temporary, but progress is permanent. When you do the hard work now, you save yourself from harder consequences later. Discipline today prevents regret tomorrow. Most people wait to feel ready, motivated, or inspired before they act. But those feelings are unreliable. They come and go. Discipline, however, does not depend on feelings. When you tell yourself daily to do what is hard, you stop negotiating with your comfort zone. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start asking, what must be done? That shift separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Doing what is hard today means making uncomfortable choices on purpose. It means waking up early when sleep feels better. It means staying focused when distraction is easier. It means having difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. These moments may feel small, but they shape your character. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of confidence. This mindset also builds resilience. Life will challenge you whether you prepare or not. The difference is how you respond. When you train yourself daily to embrace difficulty, you don't panic when things get tough. You stay calm, you stay focused, you stay moving. Hard days no longer break you because you've practiced doing hard things consistently. When you avoid hard work, the work doesn't disappear, it multiplies. Problems ignored grow bigger. Skills not developed become weaknesses. Opportunities delayed often disappear. Telling yourself daily to do what is hard keeps you ahead of the pressure. You handle things early while they are manageable. You solve problems before they become crises. This daily reminder also sharpens your discipline with time. You stop procrastinating because you understand the cost of delay. You stop waiting for perfect conditions because you know progress begins with action. Over time, discipline becomes automatic. You no longer fight yourself to do what's necessary, you simply do it. And that consistency compounds into mastery. Doing what is hard today also teaches patience. You learn to work without immediate rewards. You learn to trust the process even when results are invisible. Growth often happens quietly, beneath the surface, long before success becomes visible. This daily commitment keeps you moving forward when others quit because they don't see instant results. Hard work also humbles you. It reminds you that success is earned, not given. It keeps you grounded, focused, and respectful of the journey. When you work hard consistently, you don't fear competition because you know your preparation speaks for you. You walk with quiet confidence because you've paid the price. This mindset protects your future self. Every disciplined action today is a gift to the person you will become tomorrow. The effort you put in now reduces stress later. The skills you build now create freedom later. The habits you form now shape your destiny. When you think this way daily, you stop living only for the moment and start building a life you're proud of. Doing what is hard today also strengthens your mental toughness. You learn to push past discomfort without quitting. You learn that feelings are temporary, but commitment is powerful. This toughness shows up not just in work, but in life, in relationships, in health, and in personal growth. You become someone who can be relied upon, even under pressure. Most people admire success, but few admire the process that creates it. When you tell yourself daily to embrace difficulty, you stop chasing applause and start chasing excellence. You understand that the work done in silence will eventually speak for itself. This mindset keeps you focused even when no one is watching. Over time, what was once hard becomes normal. Your standards rise. Your tolerance for excuses drops. Your capacity grows. You realize that the hard work didn't weaken you, it strengthened you. It didn't slow you down, it prepared you. And when opportunities arrive, you're ready because you did the hard work when it mattered. So remind yourself every morning, I will do what is hard today, so tomorrow is easier. Not because it feels good, but because it works. Because comfort delays growth, while discipline creates freedom, and the life you want is built by the hard choices you make when no one is forcing you to make them. I am becoming better than I was yesterday. Every day you wake up, you are either moving forward or slowly falling behind. Growth is not automatic, it is intentional. When you tell yourself every day, I am becoming better than I was yesterday, you shift your focus from perfection to progress. This mindset frees you from pressure and keeps you consistent. You stop chasing overnight success and start respecting daily improvement, knowing that real change happens one step at a time. Most people quit because they expect massive results too quickly. They look for dramatic transformation and overlook the power of small, repeated actions. But improvement doesn't announce itself loudly. It builds quietly through habits, discipline, and commitment. When you remind yourself daily that you are improving, even slightly, you stay patient with the process. Patience keeps you moving when others give up. This daily affirmation also protects you from comparison. Comparing your journey to someone else's success steals your focus and confidence. When you measure yourself against who you were yesterday, progress becomes personal. Your goal becomes simple: show up better than before. This keeps your energy where it belongs, on your growth, your work, and your purpose. Becoming better daily doesn't mean pushing yourself to exhaustion. It means being honest with yourself. Did you waste time yesterday? Then manage your time better today. Did you react emotionally before? Then respond calmly today. Improvement begins with awareness, and awareness begins with self-reflection. This daily reminder trains you to look inward instead of outward. Growth often feels uncomfortable because it demands change. When you commit to being better than yesterday, you accept discomfort as part of the journey. You understand that comfort keeps you the same, while challenge makes you stronger. This mindset keeps you open to learning, correction, and feedback, tools that accelerate growth instead of limiting it. Telling yourself this daily also builds consistency. You stop trying to do everything at once. You focus on doing one thing better today than you did yesterday. Over time, these small wins stack up. Consistency beats intensity every time. You may not see progress immediately, but you will feel it in your discipline, confidence, and clarity. This mindset also strengthens resilience. Some days you will fail, fall short, or feel stuck. Improvement doesn't mean perfection, it means persistence. On difficult days, being better than yesterday might simply mean not quitting. It might mean trying again. And that counts. Progress is still progress, even when it's slow. Becoming better daily also sharpens your discipline. You stop relying on motivation and start building habits. Habits don't require excitement, they require commitment. When improvement becomes your standard, discipline becomes your identity. You do the work because it's who you are, not because you feel inspired. This daily reminder also helps you forgive yourself. You stop being trapped by past mistakes because you're focused on present growth. Yesterday's failures become lessons, not labels. You learn, adjust, and move forward wiser. This frees your mind from regret and allows you to invest energy into improvement instead of self-criticism. As you improve daily, your confidence grows naturally. Not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. You trust yourself because you know you're making progress, even when no one is watching. This quiet confidence is powerful. It's rooted in effort, not ego. Becoming better than yesterday also elevates your standards. You stop accepting excuses from yourself. You expect more effort, more focus, more discipline. Higher standards create better outcomes. And when your standards rise, your results follow. This mindset also builds humility. Improvement reminds you that there is always more to learn. You stay open, teachable, and grounded. You don't assume you've arrived, you respect the journey. This humility keeps you growing long after others become comfortable. Over time, daily improvement changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who grows. Growth becomes your habit, your lifestyle, your expectation. And when growth becomes who you are, success becomes a byproduct. So remind yourself every day, I am becoming better than I was yesterday. Not faster than everyone else. Not perfect, just better. Because when you commit to daily improvement, time becomes your ally. And with time, discipline, and consistency, the person you are becoming will one day surprise even you. I will stay faithful to the process. In a world that celebrates instant results, staying faithful to the process requires uncommon strength. Most people want the reward without the routine, the victory without the preparation, the finish line without the long road that leads to it. When you tell yourself every day, I will stay faithful to the process, you make a commitment that goes deeper than motivation. You commit to showing up even when the results are invisible and the applause is silent. The process is not exciting. It is repetitive, demanding, and often lonely. It asks you to do the same disciplined actions day after day without any guarantee of immediate success. This is where most people quit, not because the goal is impossible, but because the process feels unrewarding. Staying faithful means understanding that progress is happening even when you can't see it. Roots grow underground long before the tree breaks the surface. Faith in the process builds patience. It teaches you to respect timing instead of rushing outcomes. When you rush, you skip steps. When you skip steps, you weaken foundations. Staying faithful means trusting that every step matters, every repetition counts, and every small effort is shaping you into someone capable of handling the success you are asking for. This daily reminder also protects you from frustration. Many people quit not because they aren't capable, but because they misunderstand growth. They expect visible progress too soon and assume something is wrong when results don't appear. Staying faithful shifts your focus from results to execution. You stop asking, is this working? And start asking, am I doing the work correctly and consistently? The process also builds character before it builds results. It teaches discipline, humility, resilience, and focus. These qualities are not optional, they are necessary. Success without character collapses under pressure. When you stay faithful to the process, you grow into the person who can sustain success, not just reach it. Telling yourself this daily also strengthens your work ethic. You stop chasing shortcuts because you understand shortcuts create shallow results. You commit to mastering fundamentals even when they feel boring. Mastery comes from repetition, not talent. And repetition requires faith that the work will eventually pay off. The process also demands self-trust. You must believe that your effort matters even when no one else sees it. This belief builds quiet confidence. You no longer need constant validation because you trust your preparation. When opportunities arrive, you're ready, not because you hoped, but because you worked. Staying faithful to the process also teaches resilience during setbacks. Failure becomes part of the journey, not the end of it. When things don't go as planned, you don't abandon the process, you refine it. You adjust, learn, and continue. This mindset turns obstacles into teachers instead of roadblocks. The process also humbles you. It reminds you that growth takes time and that no one is exempt from the work. No matter how talented or gifted someone appears, the process still applies. This humility keeps you grounded and focused on effort rather than ego. Over time, faith in the process builds consistency. Consistency builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence fuels further action. This cycle is powerful, but it only begins when you commit to staying faithful, even when motivation fades. This daily commitment also sharpens your focus. You stop jumping from one goal to another, chasing whatever looks easier or faster. You stay locked in. Focused energy creates stronger results than scattered effort. Staying faithful means choosing depth over distraction. The process also teaches delayed gratification. You learn to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment. This discipline separates those who dream from those who achieve. When you delay gratification, you prove to yourself that your future matters more than your comfort. As time passes, the process changes you. You become more disciplined, more patient, more focused. Even before success arrives, you are no longer the same person who started. The journey itself becomes the reward because it shapes your mindset and strengthens your character. So every day, remind yourself, I will stay faithful to the process. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because results are temporary, but the habits you build last forever. And when success finally arrives, it won't feel like luck. It will feel like earned recognition for the work you refuse to abandon. I refuse to quit on myself. There comes a moment in every journey when quitting feels reasonable. The effort feels heavy, the progress feels slow, and the voice of doubt gets louder than the voice of belief. In those moments, what keeps you moving is not talent, luck, or applause. It is the decision you make with yourself. When you tell yourself every day, I refuse to quit on myself, you make a promise that defines your character. This promise becomes your anchor when everything else feels uncertain. Quitting is easy to justify. You can always find a reason. It's too hard, it's taking too long, the timing isn't right, or you're not getting the recognition you deserve. But quitting doesn't just stop the journey, it breaks trust with yourself. And when you break that trust repeatedly, confidence disappears. Refusing to quit restores that trust, one disciplined decision at a time. This daily reminder builds resilience. Resilience is not about never falling, it's about always getting back up. Life will knock you down in ways you don't expect. You will face rejection, disappointment, and moments where effort doesn't match results. Refusing to quit means you accept these moments as part of the process, not as proof that you should stop. When you commit to not quitting, your mindset changes. You stop asking, should I continue? And start asking, how do I continue? That shift is powerful. It turns problems into puzzles and setbacks into lessons. You move from emotional reactions to strategic thinking. Persistence sharpens your problem-solving skills and strengthens your mental toughness. Refusing to quit also builds discipline. Motivation fades, but commitment remains. On days when you don't feel strong, discipline carries you forward. This daily decision teaches you to act despite fear, fatigue, or doubt. Over time, discipline becomes your identity. You don't quit because quitting is no longer an option you entertain. This mindset also protects you from regret. Many people don't regret failing, they regret not trying long enough. They regret walking away too soon. When you refuse to quit, you give yourself the chance to see what you're truly capable of. Even if the outcome isn't perfect, you can stand with pride knowing you didn't abandon yourself. Refusing to quit also deepens your self-respect. Each time you push through a hard moment, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. That trust builds confidence that doesn't depend on success, it depends on effort. You start believing in yourself not because you always win, but because you never walk away. This daily reminder also helps you endure uncertainty. Growth is unpredictable. You won't always know if your effort is working until much later. Refusing to quit means continuing even when clarity is missing. You learn to move forward without guarantees, relying on faith in your preparation and belief in your purpose. Quitting often disguises itself as self-protection, but in reality, it often protects fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of disappointment. Refusing to quit forces you to face those fears instead of running from them. Courage grows when you stay, not when you escape. This mindset also strengthens your patience. You learn that meaningful results take time. You stop rushing outcomes and start respecting the journey. Patience doesn't mean passivity, it means persistence without panic. Refusing to quit keeps you steady, even when progress feels slow. Over time, this commitment reshapes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who endures. Endurance is powerful. It outlasts talent, it outworks motivation, and it wins when others give up. Refusing to quit also prepares you for success. Many people fail after achieving their goals because they never built the endurance required to sustain them. Persistence prepares you not just to reach success, but to handle it. The strength you build by not quitting becomes your greatest asset. When you refuse to quit, you inspire others without trying. Your consistency speaks louder than words. People notice effort, resilience, and quiet determination. Leadership is born from persistence, not perfection. So remind yourself every day, I refuse to quit on myself. Not because the road is easy, but because you are stronger than the struggle. Because your future self is counting on the effort you make today. And because the moment you decide not to quit, you turn pain into purpose and effort into destiny.